Talk about the company. What do you do? What problem you're trying to solve for the whole ecosystem? Where you're founded, when you're founded. So it's a history and a story.
It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm CTO and co-founder of LocalStack. So we've been around as an open source project for quite a long time. Actually, it started in 2017 when we put out the first version of LocalStack. And that has kind of grown over the years. And in 2021, we got our seed funding and built the company. We're incorporated in Switzerland, but have US investors on board, and our team is globally distributed. So what we do as a product is we provide this local cloud development environment. It gives you the ability to test your applications and build them fully on your local machine, on your laptop, giving you much quicker feedback cycles and reducing some of the friction and burden that you usually have when testing against the real cloud. So that's our main value proposition.
When we look at KubeCon or the whole Kubernetes system now, the things are slowly moving towards agentic AI, but this is still a kind of exciting space. And one of the things associated with Kubernetes is complexity, and I mean, we have kind of, it's not that this complexity is going to go away. I mean, now it's mature, it's production, so we all know this is not going to go away. We have to learn how to deal with it. So can you talk about how does LocalStack make cloud software development easier and faster and more efficient for developers, so they don't look at it like, oh no, versus, oh, let's do something exciting?
The basic premise is that, when you develop against the cloud, first of all, it's this like highly scalable system that, has all security baked in, and it's, cost efficient, cost effective, but the developer experience is often subpar, not ideal, not optimal. Right, so what we do with LocalStack is we, instead of having to push every change to the cloud and wait for several minutes to deploy, we give you the ability to have a much more snappy experience on the local machine. So you're talking not about minutes or even hours sometimes to deploy, but it's more like seconds, that the feedback cycle. So you can think of it as your developer maybe has some IDE in front of them and they make some changes to their code, be it a Lambda function or some kind of containerized application. And the moment they make a change in that application, it automatically reflects locally and they don't need to go through any cycles of deployment. This problem is even more aggravated by some regulated industries where, let's say, you're in a bank or an insurance company, where sometimes developers don't even have access to the cloud. So they might need to push changes through some CI/CD pipeline that takes, let's say, half an hour to deploy. So the feedback cycles become even slower and even more tedious. And that's exactly what we're addressing with the solution. Now, when you brought up agentic, the whole world of software is changing. We see a lot more agents these days doing the development. It's very powerful tools, of course. At the same time, this even increases the necessity to test and validate code very quickly, because you cannot always trust the code that's being generated by these agents. You need a way to test this in an efficient and also sandbox manner without risking an agent pushing changes to the real cloud environment. That's where our AI sandbox use case comes in. So LocalStack as an agentic cloud AI sandbox that runs on your local machine.